Welcome to the Bigger Room Podcast. I'm your host, Jill Bender.
And I'm Mel Cobian.
Today, we are going to talk about how to get what you want. These are 6 proven methods. All right, so let's get right into it. Number 1 is reciprocation. You want to show kindness and generosity to others, and in return, they will usually come back and show either the same kindness or even going above it and beyond that. So you think about when you walk into a store and they hand you, or they have free water sitting out or a free cup of coffee. They are giving you something, and now you like going there that much more. It's like, oh, well, that was nice. They just gave me, a cup of coffee or whatever for free so I can keep shopping at their store.
Yeah, that's kind of what dealerships do. They give you a cup of coffee, they offer you all these snacks, so that in turn you're patient, you're just as compassionate toward them. So really mirroring the behavior that you want from other people is the definition of reciprocation.
The second one is commitment. When you have commitment, when you have committed, you're getting them to commit into whatever it is that your offer is. Okay, so one of the examples that I can use to explain this is that there was a neighborhood where they asked the neighbors to put a sign in their yard that said, slow, children playing. And let's just say, I don't know what the percentage was. I don't have the exact numbers, but let's just say 80% of the neighbors refused. They did not want this giant sign in their yard. They weren't going to do it. So then they came back around and they said, will you put this small sign in the window of your house? And it was the same sign, but it was maybe, 7 inches tall, and it didn't take up much. And so there was a good deal of people agreed to put that in their house. Well, then after, a few weeks went by, they went to those same people and they said, thanks so much. You guys are doing such a great thing for this neighborhood. And, they praised them for what they had done. And they said, would you now be willing to put this sign in your yard because you guys are such good, advocates or promoters or whatever of this new safety measure? And at least, we'll just throw out numbers again, at least half of them were now willing to put the big sign in their yard because they felt like they were contributing. So they almost involuntarily agreed to something they had been against originally. And so when you give them something small and then they agree to it, it's like they made this commitment. And now down the road, you're able to, they've already committed to part of it. They've already committed, they're in. And now you'll be able to sell them on whatever you have. They're more likely to buy something from you when they've already willingly have partaken in what your offer is. So a good example for somebody like us is, hey, do you want to sign up for a lead magnet? You see these online all the time. Like, hey, in exchange for your name and email address, would you be interested in getting a free ebook or a free downloadable, whatever you're looking at? And so you are agreeing now, you're committed to this platform, to this person, to this offer. And so down the road, you're going to be more likely to be open-minded to what the offer is and more likely to purchase.
So the third one is social proof.
People look at others for proof. They look at others for approval, basically, for what they're interested in. So if you think about, we all shop on Amazon or wherever you shop, but most people shop on Amazon. We're going to check the reviews. If there are 30,000 people have bought this and they're giving them stars and they like it, you almost immediately say, well, 30,000 people like this. That means it's good. I'm going to take it. And we look for that social proof. Another example is, think of the older sitcoms, especially when I was growing up, there always was an audience laughing in the background. We never got to see them. They would just laugh at the appropriate times. That makes more people laugh because they're hearing people laugh. They're like, well, this must be funny. I'm going to laugh too. or think about if you've ever gone to a comedy show. How funny was that comedy show? But if you were sitting at home in the living room by yourself and nobody was laughing at it, I guarantee that comedy show is probably only maybe half as funny as it was when you were there. But you're joined in, you're with everybody else, and it makes it so much more exciting, and you're gonna buy in on with the social proof.
Yeah. And we live in that time, right, Joe, where people always look for reviews, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a product that they want to buy. They go not just on Google, but even social media to look at these reviews and look what people are saying, because that really speaks volume. So if you want to get your way, don't be afraid to ask people that you're serving for a review.
Right. And that works when you're trying to get your way and you are on social media like we are. Reviews is what we've got. And so you want people to give these reviews on you. And even if you are starting out and you don't have any kind of, you don't really have any kind of course, you've never sold anything personally, so you don't have those reviews. If you're having conversations with people in your DMs, I remember back in the earlier days, I was helping people in the DMs constantly. And if somebody was praising me a lot for their, you help me so much, and I kept hearing it, then I usually would get the nerve to say, hey, would you leave me a review? Like, will you give me, what do we call it? Testimonial. Will you leave me a testimonial? Yeah. So now I've got a testimonial. Now I'm going to have some social proof. And so when people look for me, they can see that other people are succeeding from me, and that's going to get people to buy.
Yeah. Number 4 is building rapport. Tell us about that, Joe.
Building rapport. People like people who like them. We obviously, that's pretty easy and self-explanatory, but there was a study done where this group of people went out and they actually paid people, and they said, I'm going to pay you to compliment me. And then they had the group of people, and these people came up and they were complimenting them. And immediately, even though the group had paid these people to compliment them, they immediately liked them more, just because those people had something nice to say about them. And we obviously are going to gravitate toward the people who are nice. So a nice gesture goes a long way when you're in any kind of business, or when you're trying to get friends to like you compliment them. There's no cap on flattery.
No, but that reminds me of another exercise people can do and still give people a genuine compliment. Is if anyone is ever rude to you in person, just respond with a compliment and mean it. Like, I really like your shirt, or I really like your shoes, I really like your hair, you have a beautiful smile, I love your eyes. And just look at their face for a few seconds. They're just going to be so confused, because we are wired to like people that give us compliments.
Yeah, it's going to diffuse them really quick.
Yeah, like the computer's going to break, their face is just going to glitch. So enjoy that for a few seconds. Yeah.
Back to Alex Hormozi, one of the things he uses for this is the ACA framework. I have no idea if this is his or if it's a thing, but it's acknowledge, compliment, and then ask a question. So you can get most people to like you just by listening to them. Nobody listens to anybody. Everybody is listening to wait for that person to stop talking so then they can talk right afterwards. And so if you just sit and listen and then reply with something that, makes it clear that you actually were listening, give them a compliment, and then ask them a question, they are immediately going to like you. 1, because you were listening. And then 2, you just complimented them, and we just talked about how compliments go a long way. And then ask them a question. This shows that you are genuinely interested, in what they have to say.
Yeah. So let's talk about authority now, Jill. And that builds off of building rapport. And like the Dale Carnegie podcast that does talk about how to win friends and influence people. When people see value in you, or the only way people are going to see value in you is because of building rapport. So the only reason some people might trust you is because of word of mouth.
As soon as you can build up some authority, now you become a trusted source. And that's when people are going to listen. So it goes back to, getting those reviews, having some social or having some proof that you know what you're talking about, basically.
People are going to start to listen when they know, and trust you.
So the next one on the list is authority. And as soon as people find you as a trusted source, you build that authority, and then they're going to listen. So that goes back to, do you have reviews on whatever your product is, whatever you're selling? Do you have testimonials? Have you made a certain amount of success, whether it be monetary, or you have more friends than anybody? Like, oh my God, Mel has, 1 million friends. She must be a great friend. So that once somebody can see that you have had success in something, if that's going to apply to them, then they're going to start to listen to you.
Yes, absolutely, Jill. And I highly recommend you guys check out the Business Leadership Podcast, which is by the Dale Carnegie podcast on how to win friends and influence people. And the last one, Jill, is scarcity and urgency.
Right? Scarcity is having a limited number of items or a limited number of whatever it is. And then urgency, this offer's ending soon. So you create a sense of, oh my God, I got to grab it now. And a great example, FOMO. Yeah, you don't want to miss out on whatever it is. So another example, tying back to Amazon, is how many times have you been on there and you're like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I want it, I don't know. But then you look and you're like, there's only one left. I got to get it right now. Even if I'm not sure, I better get it because somebody else is going to get it if I don't get it. And you add it to your cart right away. And then you're like, do I want it? Okay, but I better get it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, scarcity works.
Yes, it does.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
They also have the flash deals. And you can see there's only going to be 200 items that are discounted at this percentage. And you can just see the bar fill up every time somebody checks out. So then you're just like, no, I don't need it. Then there's only 10 left at this discounted price. And then there you go. Start adding stuff to your cart.
And it works. It works everywhere. We do it in our business. We have plenty of promotions and it's a limited time. We don't necessarily do scarcity, I don't think, but we definitely do you are limited, and the deal does end. So it's not like we're just saying, oh, here's the scarcity. It's on for a limited time. You take action during that time or you're missing out.
Yeah.
Super effective sales method for sure. Another good example of this is a lot of the higher end stores, so your Versace and Coach and those kinds of stores, they know how to do the scarcity thing. So what they actually do, it's their business model, is they will send, let's say they have a new design on a purse or a pair of shoes or whatever. I only recently started going to Coach stores just this last year, just because I could. And I noticed when I was there that they had this really cute pair of shoes. They were like a sneaker style shoe, a tennis shoe, like a flat gym shoe kind of thing, more like a skater shoe is what I would think of it is, but it was a woman's shoe. It was super cute. It was right before we went to Dubai. I'm like, do I need these? I'm like, I don't need them. No, I don't need them just because they say Coach. I don't need them. I didn't buy them, but then I went to Dubai, and 2 weeks after I had just been to that Coach store, I went back in. The entire store had been rearranged. Almost everything was not in the same spot. There were all these new things. Some of the stuff that I looked at before, I'm like, where are these? And she's like, oh, they're gone. I'm like, are you getting more? And she's like, no, they're gone. Like, we don't get more. That's it. Like, we get what we get, and then we don't get it again. And
It's
so with these
seasonal.
fancy,
Yeah.
it's not even seasonal either. It's not even that kind of tactic. So with these like fancy high-end stores, they will send they'll send like 2 or 3 of something, and then the store generally knows they will get more of those, but they have no idea how many. And the higher ups do not let the stores know how many we're going to send, like how many they'll send to you. So it might be a shipment of 500, it might be a shipment of 50, but they do that on purpose, and they don't let the employees know, because then the employees tell all the customers, like, I don't know, we might be getting more. These might be the only 3 we ever get. We might, like, once they're gone, they're gone. I can't promise you anything next time you're here. And it works, and people buy that stuff like crazy.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. It works. I mean, that's why they're high-end brands, right? Because if you have the money, you're going to buy it right there and then.
Those are the 6 proven methods to get what you want. Test some of them out. See if you can win over some friends or make more sales in your business. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you in the next one.